The frozen scream the wind howled like a dying animal. Snow slammed against the metal of Marcus's helmet, thick and sharp like glass. The planet, Kavos 9, was supposed to be abandoned. Cold, dead, forgotten after the last war. But something didn't feel right today. Marcus adjusted the controls on his chest plate. His suit's heat generator was weakening, and if the battery dropped below 5%, he'd freeze to death within minutes. Still, he didn't turn back. There it was again. That sound, a cried out at first. He thought it was a machine static interference maybe, but no. It was too soft, too human. Too helpless, he stopped walking, looked out into the white blur ahead. His visor scanned for life signs. Nothing. Just wind, snow, ice. But then, help. The voice was barely a whisper. But it was real. Marcus's eyes narrowed. What the hell? He muttered. He turned and followed the sound. His boots crunched deeper into the ice. The blizzard grew stronger. His oxygen levels dropped to 62%. But he didn't care. He knew that sound. He had heard it once before, back on Earth, before the war, before his daughter. No, he shook the memory away. He kept walking. 20 meters ahead, the terrain changed, a sharp dip, a natural trench between jagged rocks. At the bottom, barely visible through the storm, lay a small figure, curled, shaking. Marcus slid down fast, landing on one knee beside the child. He froze. This wasn't a human child. The skin was blue, almost glowing. Tiny horns curved from the forehead. The eyes, large and silver, were full of fear and cold tears that had already turned into crystals on his cheeks. The child looked up, then cried out again. Nutari, Nutari. Marcus didn't understand the language, but he understood the pain. The boy's fingers were turning purple. The cloak around him was torn. Blood had dried near his ribs. He wasn't going to survive much longer. Marcus didn't hesitate. He scooped the child into his arms. The body was cold. Too cold. He opened a thermal pocket from his suit and wrapped it around the child. The boy didn't resist. He just shivered and held on tight. The child whispered again. Mama. Marcus clenched his jaw. Don't worry, kid. We'll get you home. I promise. But he didn't even know where home was. He activated his comms. Static. Nothing. The storm was blocking all signals. His own extraction point was 20 kilometers south. He wouldn't make it with a half-frozen alien child in his arms. He looked around. A few meters away, under a rocky outcrop, he saw a small crevice just big enough to crawl into. He carried the boy there and slipped inside. The wind died instantly. It was cramped but dry. He pulled off his helmet, then his gloves, and pressed his bare hands against the child's skin to share heat. The boy looked up at him. Still silent. Still shivering. Marcus saw fear in his eyes, but something else too. Hope. For a moment nothing moved. Just breathing, slow. Faint. Then Marcus whispered, You're not dying today. He didn't know if the boy understood, but his eyes fluttered shut. Sleep? Or maybe unconsciousness. Marcus checked his suit power again. 38%. Not good. But enough for now. The soldier sat back against the stone, the child in his arms. The blizzard screamed outside, but inside their tiny shelter, there was peace. For now. But Marcus's mind was racing. Who was this child? Why was he alone on a dead planet? And what else was out there, watching? He looked into the storm one last time before sealing the entrance with a portable shield. This planet had no cities, no outposts, no reason for a child, an alien child, to be here unless someone left him, or worse. Someone was hunting him. Marcus didn't know what he had, just stepped into, but he knew one thing. He wasn't going to leave the boy behind. Not like last time. Asterisk. Stranger in the blizzard, the wind outside screamed like a wild beast. Inside the cave, Marcus barely slept. His arms were still wrapped around the alien child, whose body had warmed a little, but not enough. Every few minutes, the boy would twitch or whisper in his strange language, lost in some nightmare. The human soldier kept his eyes on the cave's entrance. His instincts screamed something was wrong, and Marcus had learned long ago his instincts were never wrong. He tapped his wrist console again. Still no signal. Still no help. Oxygen filters were dropping. Suit power, 27%. He had maybe 10 hours left before his systems would shut down. He looked down at the boy. The alien child was breathing steady now. Small silver eyes half opened. His mouth moved slowly, trying to form words. Nutari? Tavi Maya, he whispered. Marcus leaned closer. What are you saying? The child reached up with one tiny hand and touched Marcus's chest. His fingers glowed faintly against the metal armor, then dimmed. A single word formed from his lips. This time, in perfect English. Mama. Marcus felt his heart twist. The child had copied the word from his mind, somehow, like a psychic echo. Maybe that was his ability. Maybe that's how he'd survived this long. He sighed. Sorry, kid, I'm not your mama. But I'll keep you safe anyway. He reached into his ration pack and pulled out a heat bar. The boy sniffed it, hesitated, then took a bite. Slowly, color started to return to his skin. Then something changed. The child's ears twitched. He sat up suddenly, his eyes wide with fear. What is it? Marcus whispered. The boy pointed to the entrance. He spoke again, his voice trembling. Hunters. Marcus. Turned. Outside, in the white fog, something moved. At first, just a shape. Then three. Then more. Tall. Fast, non-human. His visor tried to scan, no result. Jammers were blocking it. These weren't just wild animals. These were machines. Silent. Deadly. Drones. Not rescue. Not friendly. They were here for the boy. Marcus grabbed his rifle and held it tight. No one's taking him. He looked around. The cave had no back exit. One way in, one way out, and they were coming. Fast. The boy crawled behind Marcus, holding the man's jacket tight. His breathing turned into small sobs. Not loud, but full of terror. Stay down, Marcus whispered, and whatever happens, don't run. The soldier pressed himself to the wall and waited. 1 minute passed. Then crack. A sharp sound echoed through the cave as a blade drone sliced through the shield Marcus had placed. Sparks flew. The entrance burst open. A dark, insect-like figure stepped in. Red eyes glowing. Marcus didn't hesitate. Bang! One shot. Direct hit to the eye. The drone dropped, but two more rushed in. Marcus ducked, rolled, fired again. Metal shattered. Another. Drone lunged at him, claws out. Marcus dodged, but its blade cut across his arm. Blood spilled. He groaned in pain but didn't stop. He fought like a beast, fast, precise. Brutal. Then silence. The cave filled with smoke and the smell of burnt metal. 4 drones lay broken. But Marcus stood tall, breathing heavy, bleeding. Alive. He turned to the boy. You all right? He asked. The child crawled forward and hugged his leg tightly. Thank you. The boy whispered again in broken English. Marcus dropped to his knees, groaning. His visor showed the truth. Suit power now at 13%. Oxygen filter blinking red. He had hours, maybe less, but he didn't care. He looked the boy in the eyes. We need to move, Marcus said. Whoever sent those drones, they'll send more. The child nodded. For the first time, he didn't look scared. He looked ready. Marcus pulled a flare from his side and threw it into the air. It burst through the sky like a comet. Maybe someone would see it. Maybe help would come, or maybe death was coming sooner than he thought. Either way, he wasn't leaving the child behind, not this time. The chase begins. The sun never rose on KAVOS-9. Just more snow. More cold. More silence. Marcus walked carefully through the icy canyon, holding the boy close under his thick winter cloak. The alien child didn't say much. He just looked up at Marcus from time to time, as if studying him, as if trying to understand why a human would risk his life for him. Behind them, the wind blew over the bodies of the broken drones, but Marcus knew better. That wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. He moved fast, no map, no path. Just a gut feeling and an old soldier's instinct for where not to die. Every few steps, he checked the boy's breathing, still alive. Still warm. Good. But something was off. The boy's eyes glowed faintly now like stars trapped behind silver glass. Sometimes he whispered words in his own tongue. And strange things happened when he did. A falling snow boulder rolled the wrong way. A drone scanner passed right over them and didn't detect them. Even Marcus's bleeding arm had stopped hurting. The child had powers. He just didn't know how to control them yet. Marcus didn't ask questions. Not now. Questions could wait. Survival COULDN single quotes T. After 6 hours of hiking through frozen death. They reached a cliff overlooking an old outpost, a human research site from years ago, now abandoned. But there was light. Someone was there. Marcus narrowed his eyes through the scope of his rifle. 5 figures, armed, not human. He recognized the armor-scarred hunters. Alien mercenaries known for hunting rare creatures for money. The worst kind. No mercy. No rules. They weren't here by chance. They were here for the boy. Marcus dropped back behind the rocks. His mind raced. Why? What's so special about this kid? He looked at the child. The boy stared back with wide eyes, sensing something. Then, with a trembling voice, he said one word. Air. Marcus blinked. You? Your royalty? The child nodded slowly. Then he pressed 2 fingers to Marcus's forehead, and suddenly, a flood of images poured into the soldier's mind. A woman with silver wings and golden armor. A palace in the sky. Explosions. Betrayal. A child hidden in secret. A mother screaming. As ships burned around her. And then darkness. The vision ended. Marcus gasped for air. He understood now. This wasn't just a child. This was the last son of the exiled queen of Altheria, and if these mercenaries got to him, it wouldn't just be a death. It would be extinction. Marcus stood up. His mission was clear now. No more hiding. He strapped the child to his back using thermal straps. Hold on tight. Then he ran. Down the hill, across the snow, right toward the outpost. The hunters saw him. Shots fired. Plasma sizzled through the cold air. One missed by inches. Another hit the rock behind him, exploding snow and ice into the sky. Marcus rolled, fired back, hit one in the leg. The creature screamed and dropped. Another leapt from the tower, swinging a plasma blade. Marcus ducked, slammed him with his rifle stock, then grabbed the blade and stabbed back. Clean kill. 2 left. The last 2 aimed their rifles, yelling something in a strange tongue. But before they could shoot, the boy screamed. Not in pain. Not in fear, but in power. A blast of silver blue energy exploded from the boy's body, knocking both hunters back into the ice wall like rag dolls. Silence. Only the wind. Marcus turned slowly. The boy stood now, glowing, eyes bright like fire. His small hands shaking. Marcus knelt down. Hey, you okay? The boy looked up at him, scared, confused, but alive. I didn't mean to, he whispered. Marcus gave a half smile. It's all right. You saved us. He pulled the child into a hug. We're in this together now. no matter who comes next. Far above them, in orbit, a ship blinked to life, and someone was watching. Asterisk code. Of the broken soldier, the fire crackled softly inside the old research outpost. Marcus sat by it, holding his injured arm. The alien child sat across from him, eating something warm from a can. His silver eyes kept drifting toward the human who had saved him again and again. Outside, the storm had calmed. But not for long. Marcus knew that they had hours, maybe less, before more hunters came. But right now, in this moment, there was peace. The child finally broke the silence. You were not ordered to save me. Why did you? Marcus didn't answer at first. Instead, he stared into the fire, his face hard, eyes distant, like he was watching something only he could see. I had a daughter, he said finally. The boy tilted his head. She was 6, Marcus continued. Her name was Alara, smart, brave. She used to call me Hero because I could fix anything. One day she got sick, real bad. We tried everything, but Earth's medicine couldn't save her. His voice cracked just a little. I held her hand until the very end, and when she stopped breathing, I stopped being a father. I stopped being anything. The firelight flickered in his eyes. That's why I came here. Signed up for off-world missions, suicide patrols. I didn't care if I lived or died. I just wanted to stop feeling. The boy looked down. And now? Marcus glanced at him. Now, I feel again. Thanks to you. He smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. It was the kind that came from carrying too much for too long. I heard your cry in the storm. Then something inside me snapped back to life, like her voice had returned. I couldn't leave you there. The boy walked over slowly and placed his hand on Marcus's arm. You are still a father, he said softly, just to a different child now. Marcus closed his eyes. That one sentence hit harder than any battle. Later that night, Marcus accessed the outpost's dusty control panel. Most systems were dead, but one COM channel still worked barely. He tried sending a coded message to the nearest human ship, hoping someone would respond, but as he typed, he noticed something strange. A tracking signal was already active. Someone else had already used this terminal. He checked the logs. A few hours before they arrived, someone had accessed it. Someone not human. He froze. Kid, he called. We've been followed. The child stood beside him. They found us again? No. This is worse. Marcus's voice grew dark. Someone wants them to find us. Minutes later, a low hum shook the outpost, then a sharp mechanical click. Marcus turned too late. The outer door burst open. This time, it wasn't drones. It was a Skarn general, taller, armored in black, eyes glowing red. Behind him, 2 bounty trackers and a cloaked figure stepped forward. The cloaked one removed their hood. A female alien. Same silver eyes as the child. Same glow. Mother. The boy whispered. Marcus froze. She walked slowly toward them, her face calm but cold. Give him to me, she said. Marcus stood in front of the boy. Prove you're who you say you are. She raised an eyebrow. You think I'd track him across 2 star systems just to lie? He's scared, Marcus sighed. He deserves a choice. The queen looked at her son. Do you know who I am? The boy hesitated, then nodded. I remember your voice. She knelt down. Then come with me. I'll keep you safe. But the boy didn't move. He looked up at Marcus instead, and that's when Marcus knew it wasn't just protection the child needed. It was trust. And right now, he only trusted one person. Signals from the stars. The outpost was quiet again. Too quiet. The alien queen had left with her guards. Without her son, she didn't fight, she didn't argue. She just looked at Marcus with a cold, unreadable expression. You won't protect him for long. That's all she said before vanishing into the storm. Marcus wasn't sure if that was a threat or a warning. Now he sat beside the sleeping child, sharpening the edge of a broken blade. His rifle was running low on charge. His suit battery was nearly dead, and he could feel his body getting slower from the cold creeping in. But what scared him the most wasn't outside. It was the boy. The child hadn't spoken much since the Queen left. He just stared out the cracked window at the stars like he was listening to something only he could hear. That night, while Marcus slept lightly in the corner, the boy stood up. His bare feet touched the cold metal floor, but he didn't shiver. He moved to the outpost's old communication hub. His small hand hovered over the broken console. Sparks danced from his fingertips, and then light. The console glowed, alive for the first time in years, without touching a key. The boy whispered into the machine. His language wasn't human. It was ancient, like music mixed with thunder. Sent out a signal, a call, not for help, but for someone. Hours later, Marcus jolted awake. The sky above the outpost shimmered like stars had rearranged themselves. Then, a rumble shook the ground. A low thump echoed in the distance. He ran to the window, and there it was, a ship, black, silent, floating just above the snow. No sound, no lights, but it was massive, too massive to be a patrol, too quiet to be friendly. Kid, Marcus said sharply, what did you do? The boy stood beside him, eyes glowing softly. I sent the signal, he said. To the one who protects the bloodline. Marcus blinked. The what? The boy looked up. My mother was not the only queen. Before her, there was another, hidden, forgotten, but I remembered her voice. Marcus turned back toward the window. And who exactly did you call? The boy answered with only 2 words. The Sentinel. The ship landed quietly. Its ramp opened without a sound. A tall figure stepped out wrapped in flowing silver armor. Her face hidden behind a mask of light. She didn't walk. She floated, as if gravity itself bowed to her. Marcus stood at the ready, gun drawn but shaking. Child stepped forward. Fearless. The floating figure raised her hand. Marcus froze mid-step. Literally, his body locked in place. Time stopped. Then the figure spoke, and her voice echoed in every direction inside the walls. Inside their minds, inside their blood. You have guarded the air with your life. For that, you shall be marked. A beam of light shot from her hand and struck Marcus's chest. It didn't hurt, but it burned with something deeper than pain, a memory not his own. Suddenly, he saw visions, whole planets kneeling, star thrones, betrayal, war, the child being hidden, his mother crying, the Sentinel escaping into the void to wait for the call. It ended in a blink. Marcus gasped, falling to his knees. The Sentinel spoke again. More will come. The child is the last blood of the Altherian line. If he dies, peace dies with him. Marcus nodded slowly, catching his breath. I'll protect him, he said, even if it kills me. The Sentinel looked at the boy. He nodded once. Then, she turned and vanished into light. No ship, no sound, just gone. Outside, the sky turned red. From orbit, 10 ships arrived. They were not allies. Marcus looked down at the boy. You sure that message didn't go to the wrong people too? The boy looked guilty. I tried to call only her, but others may have heard. Marcus laughed once. A tired, rough laugh. Well, he said, standing tall again, guess we better get ready for war. The reunion and the betrayal. The red sky cracked like fire above the snowfields of Kavos-9. Marcus stood on the roof of the old outpost, his rifle aimed at the horizon. The boy sat below, silent, hugging his knees. The Sentinel was gone, but her words still rang in his mind. If he dies, peace dies with him. And now 10 enemy ships floated above. dark as shadows. No signals. No warnings. Just presence. Marcus's heart pounded. He wasn't afraid of dying. Was afraid of failing. By midday, one of the ships landed. A dropship opened. Out came a single figure. Her. The alien queen. The boy's mother. But something was different this time. She wasn't surrounded by guards. No Skarn. No weapons. Just her. And a strange silence in the air. Marcus met her outside the outpost. His grip on the rifle stayed tight. His eyes locked. On her every step, the queen stopped a few feet away. I came alone, she said calmly. Marcus didn't answer. She glanced toward the entrance, where her son waited behind the door. Her voice softened. I didn't expect him to choose you. Marcus finally spoke. He didn't choose me. He just trusted me. She looked away, almost ashamed. I sent him away to save him. I never thought someone like you would find him. You're welcome, Marcus muttered. She flinched, then stepped closer. He is still my son. Let me talk to him. Marcus hesitated, then stepped aside. Inside the outpost, the reunion was quiet. No music, no shouting, just eyes meeting. The boy looked up. Mother? Her eyes softened. She knelt beside him, brushing a strand of snow from his hair. You've grown, she whispered. You left me, he said. The queen nodded. To save you. The boy paused, then leaned forward and hugged her. And for a moment, just one moment, there was peace. But Marcus, he didn't relax. Something was wrong. His instinct screamed it. Later, as the queen rested in the corner of the outpost, Marcus checked the systems. He scanned her ship, ran old security diagnostics, and that's when he saw it, a hidden beacon. Her ship had been transmitting a signal the moment she landed, not to allies, but to hunters. Marcus rushed to the armory, grabbed his weapon. Heart racing, she had betrayed them. He burst back into the room. The queen stood up calmly, her expression unreadable. You lied, Marcus said. You called them here. She didn't deny it. I had to, she said. There are factions within my people. They believe my son's death will end the prophecy. They follow me, but not all of them trust him. I had to draw them out. Marcus's grip tightened. You used him as bait? Her voice didn't shake. I would die for my son, but I would also burn a galaxy to protect our throne. You should have told me, Marcus growled. I don't trust humans, she shot back. Then why did you come alone? A beat of silence. Because he trusts you. They stared at each other. Two warriors. Two broken souls. Two protectors from different worlds. And then boom. An explosion rocked the outpost. Outside, ships were landing, but not hers. Black banners. Red light. The enemies had arrived, and now they were all out of time. The queen turned to Marcus. We fight together? He nodded. For the boy. A new kind of family. The sky over Kavos 9 was burning. Enemy ships circled the planet like vultures. Black dropships slammed into the snow. Hundreds of armored figures poured out, mercenaries, assassins, machines, all coming for one small boy. Inside the outpost, Marcus locked the final blast door. This won't hold, he muttered. The alien queen stood beside him, her blade glowing in her hand. It doesn't have to. The boy sat in the center of the room, glowing softly, his eyes closed, hands trembling. His mind was connecting with something beyond this world. Beyond time. He wasn't just a prince anymore. He was becoming a beacon, and everyone wanted to control him. The first wave hit hard. Explosions tore through the outer walls. Marcus fought like a man with nothing left to lose, firing, ducking, bleeding, screaming. He moved faster than his age, stronger than his wound should allow. Beside him, the queen danced like lightning, her blades slicing through steel and bone. her armor dripping with ice and fire, but there were too many for every enemy. They dropped, two more appeared, and then silence. A giant figure stepped through the smoke. 10 feet tall, glowing red eyes. A hybrid war machine. The commander of the hunters. He raised a massive blade. "Give us the boy," he growled, "and we will end this cleanly." Marcus aimed his rifle. "You want him?" he said. "Come and get him." Before the monster could move, the boy stood. No longer afraid. No longer small. He stepped forward between his mother and Marcus. Hands outstretched. His voice echoed like thunder through the outpost. No more running. A wave of silver-blue energy exploded from him. Time slowed. Enemies froze. Weapons melted. The boy floated inches above the ground, light pouring from his chest. The queen fell to her knees, eyes wide. The bloodline is awakening. Marcus shielded his eyes, barely breathing. And then the boy spoke into the minds of every being on the battlefield. "I am not your weapon. I am not your prince. I am not your prize. I am me." With that, a final pulse of energy shot outward, knocking down ships, shorting out machines, and sending enemies running in fear. When the light faded, the outpost still stood. The enemies were gone, and the child collapsed. Marcus caught him before he hit the ground. The boy was breathing tired, but alive. The queen stepped closer. "He has chosen his path." Marcus nodded slowly, looking down at the boy in his arms. "You don't need a throne," he whispered. "You need a home." 1 week later, a new ship hovered over a peaceful ridge on a warmer part of Kavos 9. The battle-scarred outpost had been replaced with a small camp. Inside the ship, Marcus sat at a table laughing. The queen, now dressed in civilian robes, poured him a strange alien drink. The boy sat between them reading, drawing, smiling. He was safe. Finally, a message came through on the ship's console, a human command officer asking if Marcus would return to duty. He looked at the boy, then at the queen, then smiled. "Tell command I'm not coming back," he said. "I found something better." Outside, 3 moons rose over the snow. A human soldier, an alien queen, and a child once lost to the stars now stood together, not by blood, but by choice, not as enemies, but as a new kind of family.